Hey everybody, as promised, I'm going to make a review video of the Paulywinder, which is the new yarn winder to wind your yarn tightly and smoothly onto your bobbin without having to change pegs, little contraption. So it is similar to, I believe, the Woolly Winder, and full disclosure, I've told everybody on these before, I have never used a Woolly Winder or any other sort of winder, so this is my first yarn winder experience, so I have nothing to compare it to. And I definitely don't know what I'm doing, so that was my disclosure on this. So let me show you real quick. This is the Paulywinder, and I've got it on my bullfrog here, and you can see it's got this kind of, it actually attaches in to the flyer head, and that was one thing that, like I said, even though I am a dealer, I didn't know anything about the design on this any more than any of the rest of you did, so I ordered mine as soon as it was announced that you could order them, but I didn't really know too much about them, even with how they went on. So I found out once it got here, and I was going through the SpinOlution or SpinPerfect, the instructions for doing it, that you're actually going to be removing your flyer rods on the side of your current wheel, and it's not, on a newer Golden Whirl wheel, it's not that hard to do, and I'll show you. You're pretty much just unscrewing the little screw at the back on each of these, and then you pull the old flyer heads with the pegs out, and then you push these guys in. So that's the general idea. I was not aware of that till I started doing it, so I wanted to make sure that if you're watching this video that you know, you are aware of that. But this is how it goes on, and then the bobbin goes here, and then you can see this is my regular wooden orifice bar is going to go across the top. So that is, that's how it goes together. So what you're going to do to, so imagine these are the original arms, I'm not changing them out for the purpose of this video. You're going to unscrew just this one screw on the back here, and then the one screw on the back here, and then you just hold your, you know, kind of jiggle them a little bit, and, you know, jiggle them and pull them out, and they pop right out. So to install the Paulywinder, once you've done that, you are going to then fit these in the holes on each side, and you're gonna fit them in with, you'll see how on this part there's kind of, and if you're familiar with any of our wheels, you'll know what I'm talking about, there's kind of a little flat part here, and then there's the swoopy part on the bottom, and as you know, that matches up with the inside of the orifice bar, where there's the flat part on the top and then the circular part. So you're going to be sticking this in here the same way, where the round part's on the bottom and the flat part's on the top. So, and it pretty much only, they claim, will fit in here that one way. So with me, and if you just want to go by this video, this is kind of like an oblong shape, so the pointy part points up. You don't want this pointy edge pointing sideways one way or the other. You want it pointing up. And then that goes in here. And then on this side, the part with the big part, you want this arm coming up. And then you can see here where it's 3D printed, it says SpinPerfect and patent pending. So that's, they go on here. Just, and I don't, like I said, this is just my honest personal opinion. I did not find, and it might not be designed to, but mine did not go, you can see, all the way in here as much as I thought it was going to. And when I was screwing it in, it did take, you know, a good bit of gumption on my part to get the screws to go in the back. And they don't on either side go, at least on mine, all the way in. But that does not seem to affect the spinning of it, so I'm guessing that's okay. So I didn't want to hurt the wheel, so I didn't, you know, jam it in there or try to force it to make it work or anything. But I do have this little bit of edge, but like I said, it seems to work fine, and then you screw the screws back in. But you want to, before, hold on, so scratch that, before you tighten it in, you want to put them in there. And like I said, one thing, and I believe I saw somebody else, it might have been Peter, these do have a little bit more, especially this one, wiggle to it than I was imagining that it would. It doesn't seem to affect anything, and like I said, I'm pretty sure in Peter's video he said the same thing, that I think we both were kind of thinking that was going to be more rigid than it is. But, you know, that doesn't seem to be a problem. So like I said, I'm learning this all right along with you and just being honest about it. So the way that you, and this is a really slick trick, so you put these in here before you screw them in, and you take your orifice bar and you pop it on here. And see, mine's aligned, so it popped on here right. But you want to basically put this on, because then that's going to hold these in place so the flat parts are on top. So you put the orifice bar on, and then you know, adjust these to where it snaps on and fits correctly, because then you know it's going to be on there right. And then after you do that, and this is holding it as a brace, is when you finish tightening these screws on here so that it's held on here properly. So that is how you install, well, you know, remove the arms and put the new arms on. Further installation that you need to do, but you're in the home stretch now. This isn't a big deal. This part is, this metal part is separate. It's kind of like a screw and two washers, and then this little part that's like a peg. And it's super duper easy. All you do is you pop the screw through here with a washer on this end and a washer on that end, and then you just tighten it. The directions do say do not over tighten, so I did not over tighten. And apparently this little screw here operates kind of like a tension block, and I have not messed with it at all, but apparently if you need to, you can tighten this or loosen this screw, and it tightens or loosens this part, and I think can adjust this. I have not gotten to that point. It didn't sound like that was a mandatory adjustment, just like a nice to have design. So that's what that's for. So you put this thing on here, and then, here, let me show you this, because I did have a hard time visualizing this from the directions. So I had to go look at Peter's video to figure out what I was doing. But it comes with these two little guys, which they're calling gates, I think. And then there's this long groove here. And like I said, this took me, I should be embarrassed how long this took me to figure this out. From what it is you're doing is you're squeezing these things together, and you're slipping them in here, and then you put one down on this end, and then squeeze it together, and see, it only slides in one way, and then they hold themselves. And the directions say that, and I haven't really gotten into it yet, that if you need to adjust, like if there's certain parts where the yarn's not filling in, these can be used to make fine-tuned adjustments. So that seems really cool, and you can see they just stick up right here. But yes, for those of us who are visual learners, that's I read that little paragraph in the directions about 10 times trying to figure out what that meant. And then once I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, that's easy. So that's what you do. They just, they very easily slip in like that. So that was the rest of the installation. So as you see, like, bolt that on, not a big deal. Slide these in, not a big deal. And other than that, it's good to go. So to start spinning, you put your bobbin in, and then you put your thing on here. And then I do think you would maybe want a longer leader thread. If you're somebody that had a shorter leader thread, you might want a longer one for this. On mine, it's apparently all tangled up. So, you bring your leader thread down around this bottom part here, and down, like, kind of just like that, so not a big deal. And then bring it up. You're going to bring it over this. And then, one thing I will note on the directions, this part was shown as a hook. On the one I received, it's actually like a little circle. But it's still not a big deal to just feed your leader thread through. And then it's like that. So see, super easy. It comes off the bobbin, goes up here, goes over there, goes through here. So not a big deal. And let's see, I'm going to put this, because like I said, this is literally like the first time I've tried this. So y'all are doing this right along with me. So let me not look like too big of an idiot here, trying to get this going. So I've got just some real basic roving, and I'm just going to try to make some just basic thicker yarn so we can easily see what I'm doing. So like I said, this is my my virgin spin here on this, so you are literally seeing it as I'm doing it, so I have not had time to practice. I have not tried it out and perfected this method, and if the whole thing blows up, you're gonna see it. But so far so good. So it's very smooth. It definitely is a little different than what I'm used to because there is kind of the weight on one side. But with the balance beam, that's what this thing is this part's heavy. The skinny rod is actually heavy because it's the same weight, I'm guessing, as this big old one on this side. And it is to balance it, so even though, like, visually you feel like it would be really heavy on this side, it's actually really balanced. So let's see, like I said, this is my first time ever using this, so let's see how it does. I'm spinning, and like I said, you can see the green is my leader thread, so the natural is right there. And what this is, the way that this works is as this spins, it's going to naturally move itself on this slope due to physics, I'm assuming. I may not be doing this right, but that's the idea, is that this is going to gradually do this as I'm spinning and load onto the bobbin without me having to move pegs. So the idea being that this is going to be a more effortless spin, and that it will change yarn positions as I'm doing it. And yeah, it does look like it's doing it. That's pretty slick. Like I said, I have been, I never had a desire to have, like I said, the Paulywinder is the one I always heard about. And the only reason I really ever heard about it was just because people would always ask me, like, oh, why is SpinOlution not compatible? You know, like, I want a Paulywinder on my SpinOlution. So that's the most I know about them. And you can see how it's filling in on there, was just from people asking me about it. But I'd never had one. I guess changing pegs wasn't that big of an issue in my life. But now that I'm not having to change pegs, I do see how this is actually really nice. So they may have won me over to the dark side here. That's really cool. Look, you can see how it's gone from being in one place to it's now like wider than my finger on here. So that's really neat. So like I said, I have to admit, this whole experience, I don't know, I'm kind of an old fart. Like, I get stuck in a rut with I'm like, I can do this the way I like to do it, and I don't need some newfangled contraption. And then I did, like I said, just full disclosure, I had a little bit of difficulty between my older wheel and, you know, just trying to figure this out. I guess I would definitely say, don't do this if you're hangry. Like, make sure you eat some lunch. Make sure you eat some lunch or have a snack before trying to disassemble and reassemble your spinning wheel. But I may still, now that I'm doing it, I may tighten this side up a little bit. But, I mean, you can hear on the video. Here, let me be quiet. There's a little bit of a noise. Like I said, I may need to tighten this one side up where it's not as tight as it could be. But it's not, I mean, it's still very quiet. And it's definitely, look, you can see how it's slowly moving. So that's my review so far. I'll probably still do another video about this, but no, I think it is a neat contraption. Okay, everybody, well, thank you for joining me for basically an unboxing video on this, because it really was the first time I'd ever tried it. The only thing I did that you didn't see was just the part where it was getting the old arms taken off and the new arms put on. So my general takeaway on this is that it is a really cool, it's a cool contraption. If you are one of the people that has been like anxiously awaiting there being a yarn winder for your SpinOlution wheel, then I think you're going to be excited about this. If you are somebody that's like, why do I need one of those? Then if you're not bothered moving pegs, then you know, I mean, I'm not here to put the hard sell on you. I myself, moving pegs wasn't a huge deal. I do think this would be actually really cool on the I'd like to see it tried on a SpinOlution Pollywog with the little 4-ounce bobbins, because as y'all know from some of my other videos, I've talked about the importance of really packing the yarn on there. to get the most as far as the most fiber on those bobbins, because they are small. And y'all know that I have mentioned really liking the 4-ounce SpinPerfect 3D printed bobbins for the Polywog, because they give you just that little bit of extra room, just from the design of them on the 3D printed ones versus the wooden ones. So I actually, if you have a Polywog and you are like, you love it, but you are really working hard on packing the yardage on there, I think getting the SpinPerfect 4-ounce bobbin, and at least one to try. They're not that expensive. And then maybe you might even want to splurge and get the Paulywinder. May really pack more fiber on there than you maybe, especially if you're having a hard time, like you get into watching TV and you're not paying attention to changing pegs. If that's you, especially with the smaller bobbins, you may really enjoy the Paulywinder because it would do that for you. So I know I've talked with my mom a good bit, and yeah, that's always her complaint, is she's like, I got into watching, I don't know, Outlander or whatever it was she got into watching, and she's like, it all piles up in this one part because I forgot to change pegs. So I think Mom would love this. So I may have to put this on the wheel, one of her wheels for her, because it is really nice, because you can just zone out, like either talking to people or I don't know, whatever it is you're zoning out doing, and the wheel, the Paulywinder, will do the work for you, putting that on there. I do want, so if you, basically, if that's you, I think you would really enjoy a Paulywinder. If you are like, why do I need this? Then you probably don't need it. So that's my feelings on that. Let's see, anything else I'd want to mention? I did originally, because the 8-ounce and the 16-ounce, and I did feel stupid originally, it's not doesn't fit because of diameter. So like the 8-ounce versus the 16-ounce, it's on the size of the rods, I guess. So the same Paulywinder would fit on a 8-ounce head as a 16-ounce head, and I was confused on that myself, and then I felt stupid once it got pointed out to me. But I did try originally installing this exact same Paulywinder on my older model King Bee, and I did have some trouble with that, full disclosure, because my older King Bee is not a golden whirl, so the head is just put together a little bit differently. And they do have on the instruction manual, there is a place that they have on there for, like, if you've got an older wheel, like, they will help you. So I just wanted to tell you that. So if you have a golden whirl or a newer wheel, which is really easy to check, just look at the back. It's gold, you got one. So if it's not gold, if the the part where you change the bands for the gears is not gold, then you have an older wheel. If you bought it used, or you just bought it a long time ago. So if you have a golden whirl one, it's going to be really easy. You just unscrew the two little screws like I showed and kind of wiggle the rods and pull them out. If you have an older one, it apparently can be done. You will probably end up having to unscrew more screws on the flyer head, like some in the front and some in the back. And you may have to contact the SpinPerfect customer service, and I'm sure they can walk you through it. But that may really vary, because with the older ones, like one older one may be different from another older one. So just, if you got an older one, you might want to even contact them before ordering one, just to kind of maybe send pictures of like what your flyer head looks like. I don't know, if you wanted to get any sort of questions out of the way. I did want to let you know on that. The newer ones, which I feel like most people have newer ones at this point in time anyway, it was really easy. It's exactly like it says in the instructions. You just unscrew the two screws, pull it out, stick them in, screw them back in. So, not a big deal. So, I think it's a really cool thing. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to continue to spin on it, because like I said, it wasn't something that, for as much as I'm a dealer and I've had lots of people asking me about this sort of a thing, it wasn't something that, like, personally I was like, oh man, But so now that I have one, it is really neat. It was really easy. There was no learning curve on spinning on it. I didn't spin any differently than I ever do, so I wasn't spinning faster, slower, different gears. So if you're worried about it affecting your quality of yarn, I wouldn't worry about that at all. It was really very easy to just jump right into, and the feel of spinning, as far as the uptake and everything else, was exactly what I'm used to. I did not change my tension, I did not change anything, so it was very user-friendly. So if that was a concern for you, I would say don't be concerned about that. So it'll be fine. And yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm personally very excited about spinning a full bobbin on it and seeing it go back and forth and fill it up. I really liked Ashley's original video on talking about how every bobbin was an adventure. I thought that was fun. So excited to have my own adventure. And I hope you have a good day. And like I said, I literally am learning this with you. So if you have any specific questions or you're like, how does that work? Like, post in the comments and I will I'll make another video. So have a good one.